Right. Shalom, shalom. Hope y'all brothers are doing good, man. I'm not gonna spend too much time. I got a little time to spend to go over a few things. First and foremost, I want to say call hello, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash. I want to send double honors to the apostles and the elders and the bishops of Great Millstone. I want to say much peace, love, and salutations to you brothers out there pushing the word of Yahweh Shah, Shah, sincerity, and truth. Mariala. This is a World War III Algo update. I call it the illusion of choice, AI governance, and stable coins. All right. And stable coins. And hold on, I need to edit that. Forgot the E in stable. There we go. Let's fix that. Yeah, man. So there's been a lot, just tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff going on. I picked out a few of the many videos that have been going out. Brothers have been putting up videos, articles have been going left and right. Updates to the government have been happening rapidly. I just picked out a few things and I wanted to touch on it because it all centers around the path to the MOTB and World War III Algo. Okay, with Trump last night with Benjamin Netanyahu, that definitely surfaces implications for World War III. But with a lot of the stuff that's been going on with the different types of legislation or executive orders that have been going out, the path to the MOTB is here as well. So we'll start off with this scripture, and Lord willing, this is edifying. As always, I tell you, brothers, I'll be looking at the comment boards here and there and just kind of picking and choosing relevant scriptures to add and edify. This is Proverbs chapter 30, verse 13. It says, there is a generation, oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. All right. There's a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives to devour the poor from off the earth and the needy from among men. And right now, when you look out at a lot of the diplomacy that's being pushed out, you see that Trump is being put at the forefront of just getting everything going as far as the MOTB, the new world government, all right, in this new digital age. And people feel like they're, he's pushing this nationalist, this populist mindset of, individual sovereignty. But when you look deeper into a lot of the stuff that he's pushing, the paradigm is from both sides. He's pushing legislation and mindset that's the East is doing and the other competing nations is doing. So I'm going to play a couple of clips to highlight this, and then we'll go from there. All right, this is from Overseeing the Downfall. Muslim guy. He produces a lot of good thought-provoking content, but he was speaking about Trump and his position within this current government system and the world system as a whole. And I felt like what he was saying was thought-provoking and intriguing. So I'm gonna play this. Let me start at the top.
Well, I think that the useful thing about Trump is that he can package the dismantling of American empire as the building of American empire. That's what he's doing. Because you have to sell to your demographic. And Americans are not the most mature, the most realistic, the most responsible people in the world, the most well-acquainted with history and so forth.
So he said he can package the demolition and the rebranding and making this place great. I was going to name this World War III algorithm the controlled demolition, because a lot of the stuff that we see, people talk about economic collapse, when all actuality it's a controlled demolition. It's a transfer from one style of governing the people into another style, which another style is simply a higher digital age. All right, that's it.
So you cannot possibly sell America's necessary downsizing and the managed erosion of America and the hollowing out of America. As you know, we've made a lot of bad choices for a very long time. We've only ever really made short-term plans for the future. So it turns out that there's a lot of unavoidable, necessary changes that have to be made at your expense. You can't really sell that to the American public. You can't tell the American public that consequences are a thing. That demographic of political consumers simply cannot compute a message like that. Because look, what Trump is going to do, what he is doing, and what he will do, uh, these are all things that were going to happen anyway, with or without him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just the one who's selling it to you as a good thing. That's his job. You know, he's like the guy at a company who's designated as the one to deliver the bad news to you that you're going to be let go. And you designate him for that job because he has a way of presenting it to you. He has a way of presenting to you, you being fired as the greatest opportunity of your life, you know? All the new horizons that you're going to be able to pursue and so on. That's Trump.
And that's why he's calling it the golden age. And it's a golden age of digital governance. It's a golden age of artificial intelligence and all these different things ruling your life. And just like he's saying, you're going to be put in a position of allowing the machines to rule you, so to speak. Okay. I was talking to somebody today and they was asking, what type of implications is AI going to have once they reach artificial general intelligence? Most of these mid-tier jobs are going to be gone. Insurance jobs, government, a lot of different government jobs, basic jobs where you just kind of interact with people on a very baseline regulatory level. There's not going to be any need for you to do those jobs. Okay, and then they'll implement some type of universal basic income system where the resources that was created by AI gets filtered to the people, right? And it seemed like, oh yeah, wow, yeah. All you have to do is go and help out your country in this type of manner, and you'll have access to your universal your credits, or however they're gonna call it, stable coins or this or that, you know. And it's going to be seen as peaceful as a good thing. It's going to be his words are going to be sweet, okay? But in all actuality, they just looking up to gobble as much as they can. They're just looking to take, okay? And that's what they're going to do. They can't help themselves. I want to skip and play this. I wrote it down, 1 minute marker. He basically reiterates it in a better way later on in this video. And the whole video is good. Like, you can go watch the whole thing, but we're just getting small clips.
Would be taken at face value. He never means anything that he says. He's public. The initial cost and the investment of taking over services and so on inside of Greenland. Even with Greenland's natural resources, the U.S., I think, would be lucky to break even. I mean, that's if we take it seriously in the first place. Like I said, nothing Trump says should ever be taken at face value. He never means anything that he says. His public positions are always either bargaining tactics or just sheer misdirections. Both Panama and Greenland, and the idea of Canada becoming an American state, all of these are just moves, in my opinion, to try to estrange allies and isolate the U.S. as much as possible. That's what I think he's doing. And I think that is the desired outcome. That's the real desired outcome, which is why
and the spirit is being put on him to isolate the United States, okay, in that type of way. Scriptures talk about in the book of Obadiah how those that are confederate with thee, they're going to come against Edom, chiefly the chief place of Edom, which is America. Talks about in the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, how those 10 whores were going to burn that whore with fire. That being NATO and the EU nations, chiefly coming up against the United States. So more and more, they're making there's diplomacy going out. There's isolating the United States. And you might have these nations capitulate through tariffs and this or that, but the mindset and the angst against each other is still going to be there. Like I said, you can have two nations come together for economic reasons, but politically they're at odds. You know, there's tension. Like Germany in Europe, Germany still feels the bite of World War II and what was done to them by the European nations and chiefly America. They still feel it, but economically they're tied within the EU and everything like that. All right. Same with the French.
I think it's a serious mistake to ever think that any politician's rhetoric about why a policy is being pursued is the actual reason the policy is being pursued, whether it's Trump or anyone else. It's not. This isn't unique to Trump, because you always have people saying that, like, even analysts. Well, that policy didn't work out as planned. Wow, that really backfired, and so on, because the outcome was not the outcome that was outlined by the original rhetoric. No, the outcome was exactly as desired. The rhetoric was the lie. It seems like this should be a basic understanding that people should have. And you have people, like I said, even analysts, saying, like, for example, the sanctions against Russia appear to have backfired. They seem to have actually hurt Europe more than Russia. Who knew? Of course they hurt Europe more than Russia. That was obvious. And that was the intention all along.
And now we made this point so many times where the United States government and the Europe as a whole can't be so stupid to not understand that cutting off banking arrangements with Russia, cutting off oil opportunities for cheaper oil and natural gas coming into Europe from Russia is going to hurt Europe. Like, that was an obvious thing. The point is they wanted Europe to be hurt. They wanted more inflation. They wanted prices to go up. They wanted more strain on the people. That's the actual outcome they wanted. If we can look at the policy and understand that that was going to be the outcome, you don't think they could? The scripture says that the serpent it's cunning, it's crafty, it's subtle. Of course they knew. Of course they knew. So they say one thing and they say, oh, we're going to do this policy, we're going to do this and that. But they're plotting on something, man. Okay? Isaiah 5:8, woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. And that's what they do. They set up things so they can grab and take and accumulate. They're vultures. They can never have enough. All right? They can never have enough. Got to understand that. They speak sweetly in one way, but in all actuality, they're plotting and scheming for something else. Okay? And they set up policy that you think that you're getting something out of it. You think that, oh, yeah, there's a choice in this. We always read that in Revelation chapter 13 and 11. It says, and I behold another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Those two horns representing those different sides of policy making, those different sides of governing. All right, so it makes it seem like, ooh, like a lamb. Why would a beast have horns like a lamb? To make the people think that it's a peaceable discussion, but it ain't. It's all manifesting, the Republicans versus, they're like, the Democrats are being so idiotic right now. It has to be a setup. Ain't no way you that goddamn dumb. They make the Republicans look like victims. They make the alternative media look like victims. And so the people, they're going to go for the underdogs. The people are going to go for the victimized. They're making the Republicans look like saviors. Oh, let's pop Trump. Let's get Trump in on these bootleg, charges that don't mean. You look at the lawsuit and it's stupid. So it makes their side look even. So what happens? People flood to the opposing side when the whole time it's a trick bag. Whole time it's a trick bag. Keep playing this a little bit more.
You know, this is especially true when the outcome is predictable, and especially true when the outcome is actually predicted. You know, when you have a predictable and predicted outcome, when that occurs, you should obviously deduce that that was the goal from the outstart.
Mm-hmm.
But the negative policy outcome, the desired negative policy outcome, is never going to be stated as the desired outcome, obviously. Like I said, you can't sell that to the public. So, you know, for example, with the oil thing, Trump can say that he wants the price of oil to be reduced in order to cripple Russia. But when a reduced oil price actually cripples American oil producers, and predictably so, well, that was the whole point of the policy. And it isn't the policymakers who are foolish. You're the fool for believing their rhetoric and for thinking that somehow the predictable and predicted outcome won't occur. So, like I said, Trump, for example, is not anti China. Putting tariffs on Chinese goods is anti American, not anti China. But again, this isn't about Trump. I don't want to keep making it about Trump.
But that was a valid point. Hi, when you put when we buy all these Chinese goods, who's the number one consumer of Chinese goods? Americans. Americans have thrived off cheap Chinese goods for what, fucking 50 years now? More than that. More than that. So when you putting tariffs on China, obviously that's going to reverberate to higher costs in America and hurt Americans. Okay, and that's a predictable outcome that's being ignored because of the nostalgia of having Trump in office. Shalom, I don't know if you can hear me.
Hey, Shalom, Zakwan, Shalom, Akim, Yabashim, Yabashar Brakatah.
What's going on with you, bro?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I hear what you're saying, man.
Let's go
Yeah,
check.
man.
Yeah, so this whole idea of 40 chests from Trump is laughable when his policies are clearly been bipartisan policies the whole time, and when he's instituting diplomacy or he's instituting laws that China and them are doing. You know, what you got to say out?
Yeah, you've been saying that for the longest while, like, you know, that they copy each other, they play off each other. You know,
Yep.
the same system, the same system is being built on in the East and the West, and they you know, there is a conflict, but the conflict is driving the agenda. You know, they're on the same side, and the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Right. So there is no battle going on, and he makes the statement of how can there be a battle going on when you have these multinational these multinational conglomerate groups that run both sides of the table. They're gonna have the influence. BlackRock is gonna have an influence on China, just like they're gonna have an influence on America.
Mm-hmm.
They work on both sides of the table for profit and control.
Yeah, that's why, you know, the scripture. I get a scripture real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Going into the whole politics farce, because he was absolutely correct. Like, these people are not stupid, so why are they acting stupid?
Mm-hmm.
It's all on purpose. You know, AOC and all these idiots, and it just distracts from what's actually happening because everybody picks a side, and once you're emotionally invested, then you can't think straight. So Trump could be bringing in the new world order, and all the alt-right people is clapping.
Yep.
Because they're emotionally invested instead of, you know, looking at things from a more objective point of view. It's like when you get two people that support a football team. You ever seen two people that support football teams arguing?
Mm-hmm.
They're too emotionally invested to be objective. This is Job 15:34. It says, "For the congregation of the hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery." And that's what you're going to find out, is that the word hypocrite goes back into an actor. And what everyone's gonna find out is, yeah, the American people, the average everyday people you meet on the street, they have a philosophy, they have something they invest and believe in. What you're gonna find out is the majority of these politicians don't believe in anything. They're literally actors. They just play a role, like you know what I'm saying? And then by playing that role, it says, look, fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. They enrich themselves. The elder will tell you, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democratic politician or Republican, they all get rich.
Yep.
When the Republicans are in power, it doesn't matter. As long as you become a politician, politicians go into politics on one level of wealth and they come out on a different higher level. And it really doesn't matter what happens in the country. And this is what people don't realize. Like over here in the UK, even though most people in the UK are down bad, like we're down all the way bad. Like, I mean, it's insane what's happening in the UK. This is what I do know. Whether you're Labour or Conservative, you're getting richer. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's the fruits of their labor. And so it doesn't matter whether your Kamala Harris is getting richer.
Winning.
They're winning. It doesn't matter if they're but it's the people that's losing. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you're losing. You're struggling to buy X. They're not struggling to buy X. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why the scripture call it the congregation of hypocrites and the tabernacles of bribery, because it's all about acting and being fake and all that kind of stuff. But these people, they're fine no matter what happens. Same thing in China, UK, Germany. In Germany, Germany's down bad right now, but I guarantee you the politicians in Germany are getting richer.
Facts.
You know?
Big facts.
Go on. So.
Yep. Hey, shalom, shalom.
Y'all can hear me, huh?
Yep. You good. You good. Did you have anything, or you just tuning in?
I'm just tuning in, brother.
All right, I'm gonna play a little bit more of this, and we'll keep rocking.
The containment of America was always going to happen, like I said. And in fact, it's been happening, incrementally, gradually. It's been happening for quite some time. But the process is accelerating. But nothing was ever going to prevent it in reality. I mean, the rise of BRICS is not an uprising. This has to be understood.
Bro, have I not been saying this? The rise of BRICS is not an uprising. Everybody, ooh, the BRICS. I'm like, look, bro. In the words of Quiet Quote, mine's not doing nothing, man. mine's not doing nothing. They're doing the same thing as the West. Same thing.
This has to be understood. It's a relative rise being facilitated by the A-National OCGFC through several strategies, which includes deliberately expediting America's decline. It's not a revolution, it's a transition. And it is a managed transition. The sort of leftist, anti-imperialist rhetoric.
You can't have these other nations come under the MOTB in the state that they're in. They have to be brought up to speed. And the cheap manufacturing and labor in a lot of these other nations allow them to come up to speed faster. And once they get up to speed, then we can implement a process of, we got to compete against these nations because they've accelerated so far. When all of the companies that work over there are American companies. All the companies that's in the East, in China and all these other nations, are American-based companies that have facilitated their growth. But somehow it's some type of fight. It's an illusion.
But everything's made in China.
But everything's made in China. No, nigga. It's the Apple Corporation. It's an American company subsidized in China.
Yep. What was the name of the president that opened up China to the world again?
Oh, man.
Was it the 70s?
It's like the 70s, yeah.
I'll try and find the name.
Yeah, but it's just American companies over in China. And then they take the template of those American companies and make their competing capitalistic companies, and now there's some type of a fight. No, bro, the elites are working both sides to the MOTB. They just gonna happen to fight over it, like the scriptures say.
On the issue of BRICS is inaccurate to some extent, I think. And I think it's crucial for us to understand this properly. You know, multipolarity would be great if a private sector unipolar power did not exist, but it does.
Understand what he's saying. Multipolarity would be cool. Like you have all these different places that's just rising up on their own, but you have a private sector. How he said, because he said it all Muslim and smart and shit. Let me run it back.
Transition, you know, the sort of leftist anti-imperialist rhetoric on the issue of BRICS is inaccurate to some extent, I think. And I think it's crucial for us to understand this properly. You know, multipolarity would be great if a private sector unipolar power did not exist, but it does. And multipolarity, and
he said a private sector, all right, unipolar power, meaning you have the private sector, which is different banks and corporations and certain institutions that run and control every goddamn thing. Oh, and they run and control everything on both sides. We mentioned the BlackRock, and it's General Mao, brother GMS from Hawaii, put in there during the time of Richard Nixon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nixon.
All right. So these guys operate from both sides and control everything through their, private sector interests. That's why they can go to a Trump and make him prop up a Elon Musk, who is a puppet. All right. And meanwhile, these corporations that own Elon and Stargate and OpenAI, they're the ones dictating policy. They're the ones dictating, okay, this is what we need to do, President Trump. This is what I need to, this is what we need to push.
Yep.
And they've already done the same thing in the East because they run those companies too. You had some required, Kwame?
Yeah, I was gonna read the scripture, Isaiah 29:15. It says, "Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, Who seeth us and who knoweth us?" Because ultimately, in the sign I was meditating on, we don't really see the elites.
Yep.
The only people we see are the agents of the elites, the characters that they put on the world stage. George Soros. If you can say the name, then they're not an elite. You know what I mean? Like George Soros and flipping Henry Kissinger. He's dead now. But Elon Musk and these big CEOs like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and to the world, these are the guys with the power. But they're not really the elites of Esau. The elites of Esau, they're like, their names don't get mentioned like that.
Yep.
They ain't gonna come on the news and start giving, I think this, and nah, man. They just they work behind the scenes. Yep. And they don't even, and that's how you don't hear about them. These guys will say the Matrix. Who are you talking about? Give me a name. Like, who is it? No, like nobody knows.
You ain't gonna see the richest man in the world at the John Jones fight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, or even at the WEF. He ain't doing that shit.
Yeah, like when the camera pans, when the camera pans and it'd be like someone's name comes up, like.
Right. At the fight, their name pop up, and they throw a fist and start punching at the camera. You're not finna see the richest man on earth doing that shit. Oh man, that's funny.
And that's why they say like, who seeth us, man? Because they, you can go and attack Elon Musk because you hate him, or attack Trump because you hate him because he did, but you don't know these people. So this is how they've managed to keep themselves, by being in the shadows. But the Lord is going to get them, because the Lord knows exactly who they are. We don't even need to know who they are. The Lord knows who they are. And we're gonna get every single last one of you, man.
None of them gonna get away.
In the spirit, in the kingdom.
That's right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna play a little bit on this, and I got a clip that's gonna add on to this.
National sovereignty means something very different to that unipolar superpower than it does to the nations of the global south. You know, to the Black Rocks of the world, to the state streets and so.
When they talk about this whole global south, when you look at the map, you have, you know, the northern and southern hemispheres, and when you look at the southern hemispheres of, you know, the southern aspects of Asia and Africa, South America, these nations are considered third world and poor. The northern, the north of that, which is America and everything like that, and Europe and China and Japan, those are seen as first world. So that's the global north. So there's this concept of the global south versus the global north, with the global north being first world and the global south being kind of third world, if that makes sense.
So on. Multipolarity and national sovereignty means compartmentalized, vulnerable countries, most of whom have national economies that are a fraction of BlackRock's assets.
Yep.
Meaning they are susceptible to coercion, they're susceptible to bribery, manipulation, and exploitation. Yes, the A-national OCGFC are just as vicious and just as predatory as the nationalistic OCGFC. They don't care about BRICS. They don't care about the global south. They care about market domination. That's all.
If you no, you got it, bro. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he mentioned the manipulation because of the money, and what's in the news at the moment that they're exposing is the US aid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going into the money laundering, which that's standard procedure, but it's been known for a long time that the US aid, foreign aid, is actually bribes to keep foreign leaders in line. And they're exposing it now because they're gonna just use some other means, but that's exactly what he's talking about.
They need public trust. They need public trust in order to roll into the next thing.
Exactly.
That's why when we get to the end of this algo, when you listen to what Trump says, he's garnered so much trust from the people that he can be absolutely ridiculous, and nobody will say anything. You already know where I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, especially the people who should be saying something, because these are the people for the last 15 years who supposed to be anti-globalist, anti-World War, and they just sold out.
Yep. But he's garnered so much so-called trust from the people by doing these small expositions, exposés, exposing this, he's exposing that. Well, he's actually lining you up for a knockout punch. He's lining you up for that Deontay Wilder.
Man, these people are so deceptive, bro. It's like, God damn, bro.
Yeah.
This shit is masterful how deceptive. It's like God damn, bro.
They were born to do it.
Sometimes you just gotta just stick to the scriptures because it's like, okay, what the fuck?
Yeah, they have a doctorate in mischief, man.
Yeah, but that's why the scripture says never trust thine enemy, and we hold on to that. So it don't matter what these devils do, we don't trust nothing,
Okay, very good. All right, so let me play this real quick. If somebody, yeah, my favorite nerd.
Yeah, I used her earlier, and I did a news and prophecy earlier. I haven't loaded it yet, but I watched this video on that one.
She's go-to. She's go-to. Mm-hmm. She's been busy, so she's finally getting back around to doing interviews, which is good because she be breaking this shit down.
Them crazy ass glasses, man. Damn.
You find out who Kwame got a crush on Whitney. Somebody can put Psalms 55 and 21 on the copy board. We'll play this.
And he was very active in what he said was sort of smoothing over relationships between East and West during the Cold War. But essentially what he said in testimony to Congress in the early 70s is that there was the rise of what he called the trans-ideological corporation, where you essentially have the multinational corporations, many of them based in the West, making joint ventures with the communist-owned, state-owned enterprises in the East, Russia and China, and that these were essentially fusing to form an economic structure that was unaccountable to any government in the world. And when asked if he thought this development was a good thing, he essentially said, yes, it was. And that was back in the early 1970s. And
now, your brothers mentioned this in the comment boards. So basically transnational, basically taking your company from America and putting it over in some communist state where you can do what the fuck you want to do. All right. That's basically what she just said.
And nothing was really done about it. And you have to kind of ask why is that? And it's kind of interesting too for those that subscribe to the thesis of someone like Carol Quigley, who wrote many decades ago about this idea of the roundtable groups and all of that. Sort of coming from Cecil Rhodes and Britain, and efforts to sort of remake the British Empire at a global scale through covert means. They essentially, that thesis essentially argues about creating an unaccountable economic entity as the means to doing that, a blob, if you will. That's probably the easiest way to understand it. And essentially, I think what we have arrived at as a consequence of that type of, behavior and situation is a situation where we essentially have the nation states acting as enabling environments for policies that are often drafted at the international level by think tanks. And I'm sure the most notorious of those are things like the World Economic Forum, but there's the Council on Foreign Relations, there's Chatham House, there's CSIS. I mean, there's a lot of these entities around, and oftentimes Congress people aren't really directly writing the policies they're voting on. They're handed laws.
Think about everything that she's saying and being a regular ass person that's just going to your job every day. There's no possible way you can worry about all this is happening, but it's literally controlling your world. It's literally controlling your world, and they get on TV and they act like it's all good and for the betterment of the people and everything like that. Meanwhile, it's they leave out of there and go to do some witchcraft, right? And
it's interesting that these people get no smoke from Christians.
Right.
People who have the ability to really, control the outcome of your life and the quality of your food and the future of the world you live in, they get little or no resistance from people who believe in the Bible.
Yeah.
What you mean, like vocab?
Imagine vocab really put his energy into exposing the real wickedness that's going out. And like with how fervent he is about just proving that we're not the Israelites. Well, he can't. Just like he couldn't prove if Netanyahu was a Jew or not. Imagine if he put that apologistic energy into that, But I want to read this by Be Like Minded. He put Psalms 55:21 at the water. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And that's what we see. And so they put in policies to allow them to move this over here and that over there, and then they make it seem like there's this other fight. But the whole time he's trying to take you down. It's just a whole bunch of gameplay. Yeah,
is it? And what do you think about this whole it's like the war on drugs all over again. Like they all of a sudden they care about the what's it called? Fentanyl. Oh, we need to stop the fentanyl.
Oh, we're gonna get to that next. Literally, that's my next that I got on cue.
It's like a rehash.
Yeah. So she's literally gonna kind of go into that.
Okay. Oh man, she might go, man.
Oh yeah, this whole thing is excellent. It's all prophetic.
And a lot of sometimes those are developed from these think tanks, which are funded largely by multinational corporations, and sometimes directly by big tech oligarchs like Bill Gates, for example. And those are sort of shopped not just in one country, but oftentimes in multiple countries. And so you sort of get multiple countries agreeing to enact the same policy framework for a variety of things.
So she's saying these multinational corporations, these big think tanks, these big oligarchs like y'all say Gail Bates, they're able to write policies for different places, but they pitch it to different countries. So that's why you have these different countries, but they're enacting the same damn thing.
Mm.
So you think they come up and write something up at the WEF that they're only going to present it to NATO in the West? No, everybody's getting it. This is how they all formulate the same ideas and mindset. It's two sides of the same coin. It's the global elite, mainly Edomites, 95% Edomites, controlling the West and the East. All right.
Some people have argued that's why, essentially globally, there was sort of lockstep agreement about what policies to enact in the situation of COVID-19. And also why, ostensible adversaries like Russia, China, the United States, most of the West, all agree about the, sustainable development goals of the United Nations, which if you actually look into the SDGs, a lot of it is about sort of pushing us into this fourth industrial revolution where life becomes increasingly digitized and increasingly surveillable. And really, I would ultimately argue is about the creation of new markets at the end of the day. And a lot of the push for digital ID is
boom, it's about the creation of new markets. So you're seeing this happen in China, which China is kind of like at the forefront. China and India is at the forefront, but it's ubiquitous over all these different nations. They're all in agreement. They're all in agreement about the direction that they want to take everything. Okay? It's not a fight. It's not communism versus capitalism.
In that, and that's why some have argued that this is sort of a policy that's being implemented globally, and it is true. Digital ID in particular, sort of, I think the first time most people heard about it might have been in COVID-19, but in the post-COVID era, digital ID has made, has been popping up essentially in every country around the world. So has surveillable, programmable, and seizable money, whether in the form of CBDC or its private sector equivalents. And I think it's fair to say that in countries like the United States, where they don't want to have a CBDC, for example, private sector is going to produce it. And they've done that in many occasions to make it sort of, I think, more palatable, to a more liberty-minded public. It's not coming from the state, it's coming from the private sector, but ultimately, the end result and the policy is essentially the same.
So what is she saying here? She's saying, now when you come over to the United States and the West, you had this pushback towards CBDCs. So what have they pivoted to? They pivoted to trusting in private sector entities, different corporations that have linked on with the government to do stable coins, not CBDCs. We're doing stable coins. That's different. But it's still trackable, programmable ends where you'll have to basically sign on to something. Then you'll get your digital wallet, which will be anonymous. Your wallet will be anonymous. Well, you know who's going to know your wallet? The AI governance tool that you plugged into, because you're going to have to sign your name and everything to get that wallet. And that wallet will be funded. You'll be able to interact and do everything with that. Okay? So you'll feel anonymous, but the whole time the AI is going to be able to govern it and watch you and make sure that you're making the right moves and decisions that they want. Okay, this is all the MOTB, and they're already doing this over there in China. They're already doing this. This is already implemented.
And I was just gonna mention you're talking about the private sector. You've got currently the smartest billionaire in the world, the genius himself, who owns Twitter. Well, he was meant to launch the peer-to-peer payment system for Twitter in 2024, but it's been on hold. And
yep.
This guy's now embedded pretty much in the government, so you know where that's heading.
Yep.
And he's got all the right wingers on the platform. So they gon' all whatever he co-signs, they'll jump to it. Oh, we could trust Elon's stablecoin and payment system. It's Elon.
Yep, they're all sucking up. He's Tony Stark. He's got to be good. He's the Avenger, right? 2 Ezra 15:46 says, "And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. All right, woe be unto thee, thou wretch! because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. So, you had the wine and the wrath of fornication that the mystery Babylon, gave out. Well, who helped pass out the plate? Who helped pass around that golden cup? China, the Asia, that whole system. They went around helping everybody consume this predatory, capitalistic, Edomite hegemon system. All right. They took pleasure in adding more lovers into the system. Verse 48 says, thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High. So all the inventions, like I said, when you look at all these different multinational corporations that are coming out of the United States and Britain and a lot of them in Germany, in different places in Europe that are putting themselves in building factories in China, in the East, in Singapore, okay? Asia will basically help in the works and inventions of the West. All right. It says, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death. So you're going to see this place be taken down. You're going to see China be taken down. Moab is going to be taken down with Edom. And you see that all throughout the scriptures. You'll see judgment will happen to Edom. Then the next chapter, the next judgment will be happening in Moab.
They need to be, because what China did was wicked as hell. You go into Mao Zedong, Esau went over there. He basically got him to commit genocide on his own people and transfer the farmers into the cities to work in them sweatshops. When you really break it down, they just transferred hardcore slavery over to China.
That's exactly what they did.
And they were happy with it. These good upstanding Edomites, and then after they started to get politically correct. Oh, Nike. But they never really did nothing about it. But Mao Zedong was literally dragging people out of their homes in the farms and taking them into the cities and stuffing them into factories to work for pennies so that these American corporations can make crazy profits. It's nasty work, man.
Nasty work. So now, you see this global push for them to digitize everything and put everybody under that thumb. And so when you get up here and you see all these guys are leaders of corporations in the private sector. Okay? They getting up here telling you what it is and what they're going to do. And, these guys in the background, we're going to link up with the corporate entities. And you best believe these senators, we was senators, we was representatives. They got their hands in the pocket of these corporations, man.
That's a good one.
Mr. Johnson leadership and G.T. Thompson's leadership, and in House Financial Services. So on the regulatory framework bill, that'll be the approach that the House takes. On stable coins, I think you'll see us have a bill that's very similar to the approach that's been taken in the Senate. Recently, Senator Hagerty's introduced legislation. That bill was closer to the original proposal that Patrick McHenry put in place early in the 118th Congress, and I think you'll see the House expose a draft for stable coins that would be similar to the approach taken by Senator Hagerty. But let me ask GT or to comment or Tim.
So I established this year a digital asset subcommittee so that we could
DEI
market structure as well as stable coins. Good news is stable coins led by Bill Hagerty on the Senate side's out already today. We've seen Cynthia Lummis as a co-sponsor. Market structure is a place where you have left and right leaning in.
Now, when you watch this thing, they really didn't say shit. But the purpose that I'm pulling up this clip is that they're working with these different corporations to get this shit done. Okay,
Yep.
and it's being fast tracked. Okay?
And it must be said, like over the years when we've done these algorithms, we've pointed out that the United States kind of was in a limbo as opposed to the rest of the world. The rest of the world, all of the governments were like, yes, we need crypto, let's get legislation done ASAP and push this. So the EU had their legislation, their legislation's done. The China, everyone. In America, it's like the Bank of America and all these private companies were working on crypto, but the government hadn't done anything. They hadn't done any legislation, and then the SEC is attacking crypto. Yeah, that's because it was all done on purpose so that they could wait for the opportune moment to now start pushing it. And now, since Trump come in, it's like all of a sudden the legislature and the government is pro crypto. Just like that.
Yep, just like that. We need to catch up to China. We need to catch up to everybody because their AI can kill us. China. Their AI can hack our system, so we need to get our AI. It's just nothing but the Cold War all over again, except digitally. Okay.
We have members from Gillibrand and Lummis working together in the past, now working together in the future, coming to the table to create the framework for the Senate so that we can harmonize Fit 21, the parts that we see as a path forward to a signature into law. So the good news is, from my perspective, having the Digital Assets Subcommittee really working on the market structure at the same time, simultaneously having Bill Haggerty lead the conversation around stable coins, having that bill out for us to take a look at. And there will be.
And, nobody's going to read the bill. It's just going to be an edict passed to them, and they'll just tell everybody what they're going to do.
Bro, right? Have you seen those bills when they write them?
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
Bro, it takes an AI to even read that. Come on, lad. It's 2000 and who's reading all that? The whole thing is a sham. Come on, but who's gonna read like 1,000 pages of documents?
Yep, it's crazy because certain alt media guys will break their team up. Say, okay, we're gonna go over this bill. It's 1,021 pages. Susan, you're gonna read pages 1 through 100. Billy, 200. You know what I mean? And you're breaking it, and then they have to come together and say, well, these are the highlights of the 100-page section I read, just so you can do say you break it. It's ridiculous.
But Bill Clinton read it all, right?
Yeah, get out of here. The language is terrible. They want it all. Proverbs 27:20, hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied, man. And we understand, like Elder Yashawamba used to always say this. If you look around at what Esau has, you would think that his mindset would be to stop.
Yeah, he's just not gonna stop.
Yeah, it's just he has enough to make a paradise out of everything and be good and still be on top.
Yep. They have the vast majority of the wealth, and the average person doesn't even comprehend or understand the fact that 10% of the population has like 80% of the wealth. It's uncomprehendable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
the fatness of the earth.
Yeah, they got it, man. They got it all. But they want the little that we have, they want it. That's why they said you will own nothing and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like they were bringing out a statistic today, right? The average house in London is the average salary to get a mortgage on a house in London, right, is £101,000 a year. But the average salary is like 35 or 30. Through.
Finished.
Rich and poor, small and great, rich and poor.
I want to pull this. I said what I need to say about stable coins, because when you look at the stable coins, the way a stable coin works is that you have it put onto the blockchain and you peg it to the dollar. There's multiple ways that you can peg it to a dollar. A stable coin is something that's stable to a particular currency. And for the sake of this lesson, we're talking about something stable to the dollar, meaning this coin will always be worth $1, no matter what's going on in the market.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly. And there's different ways that they back that cryptocurrency. They might back it with US Treasury bonds. They might back it with US Treasury bonds and gold. And they might back it with other digital assets and US Treasury bonds and gold to keep it stable at $1. But the catch is this, is that you have something called an oracle, which is funny, right? There's something called a digital oracle that is allowed to set rules and regulations within the chain on how the money can be moved, or which wallet can have what, or can this be sent out?
Yep.
You know, so at any
It's
time,
programmable.
it's programmable. That oracle is programmable on the chain, meaning it has the right, like an angel, to send messages over here, to do this, to enact judgments, to do, if they want this wallet to be shut down, and they can say, okay, this wallet is frozen. It cannot transact on the blockchain with this stable coin. It's done. So if you have USDC, which is the stable coin asset for Coinbase, it's always pegged at $1. The Coinbase Corporation has an oracle that can basically shut you down if they wanted to. If you could be holding $4 million worth of USDC, and they could really shut you down if they wanted to.
Especially when you add in what's that thing? Know your customer, KYC,
and
anti-money laundering.
Yep. So they can look at that wallet, see whose name, because when you do Coinbase, you got to take a picture of yourself. You got to send in your social security number in order to just open up Coinbase account. It's like a digital bank, right? They can see the number on the chain of your wallet and say, okay, yeah, shut him down. He's been out there preaching. Shut his wallet down. We're not gonna allow him to transact. Just like they did with Kyrie and Kanye and them.
And you know what the funniest thing is, right? Is about the whole crypto thing, right? It's just the way they manipulate things. So originally, Bitcoin apparently was created by some random person, allegedly. We know that's not true, but that's what they said, and it was all about getting away from the system. So you're not a part of the system. It's a new system. It's freedom, right? And the more people started making money out of it, the more now it's like, oh, when the institutions come in, we gonna make more money. Wait, but I thought the whole point of crypto was to get away from the institutions.
Mm-hmm.
So then now we're in a situation where crypto's been institutionalized.
Very much
which
so.
was created by the institutions in the first place. But did you see how they somehow always manage to manipulate these people into a trap?
Yep.
Because now,
So
if you really want to, select it.
No, you got it.
Now I'm saying, if you want to deal with crypto, you got to go through KYC.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? You have to. You're legitimate. You're handing in your passport. You're scanning your driver's license because you want to cash out.
You want to get back into fiat. So,
yeah. And all the legitimate crypto exchanges and wallets are all now going to come under legislation and under the umbrella of the system.
Yes.
But I thought the whole point of crypto was to get out of the system.
Yep. Nope. So then what they do is they control your way in and out of the system, which is the exchanges. You're not going to be able to go in and out. Because even if you said, okay, I'm going to get all this crypto, but then I'm going to send my crypto to somebody else, and then I'll let them operate that crypto because they just created a wallet. You can't get in and out without being traced back. You know?
Yep.
Cannot get in and out without being traced back. And this is where they catch everybody. And then what they're going to do is regulate the exchanges. They're going to regulate the stable coins. They're going to wash out 99% of these coins and say these are the viable coins that are in the market that we're going to allow to be able to be transacted.
And what's his name already said that? What was his name? The autistic don, the that they had front in
Talking about Vitalik?
Nah, the other autistic don, the one that was in the Cayman Islands with the ugly ass
they got popped.
Yeah.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, that front man, another so-called genius. But yeah, he had an interview and he said it straight up. He said, listen, there's only really gonna be about 3 to 4 blockchains in the end.
Yep.
Like right now there's thousands of them, but there's only gonna be 3 to 4, and they've already been chosen. You know what I mean?
It's coming. It's all part of the MOTB. And it's all shifting towards there. We're going to show you. All right. So I got a couple more clips, but I want to read this scriptures because we got to get out of here. This is Psalms 28:3. It says, draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their hearts. See that?
And that's what's happening right now with Trump. He's telling the American people that he's going to free them. You know, like he's bringing them peace and prosperity. It's just lies. They trying to put the American people back into slavery, all of them, into hardcore slavery.
Hardcore slavery.
I mean? Through the MOTB system, man.
Yep. And so I wanted to touch on this that we was talking about because we was talking about the tariffs that Trump put on Canada, the tariffs that they put on Mexico, right? Now, Elder Yashawamba has sent into the chat a clip from Trump that went down like one of them was 2 years ago, and then another one was actually during his first presidential run. So he said it twice about how they wanted to have biometric digital surveillance borders. Okay. And now what do you have during this campaign? He's forcing Canada, or so-called forcing Canada and forcing Mexico to put money towards surveilling these borders. Okay. Now, remember that Jade Helm project that went down back in 2015, right? That Jade Helm was right before Trump got in, wasn't it?
Yeah, because 2015, isn't it?
Yeah. And it was all about surveillance and militarizing borders and everything like that, man. So we'll play this from WW3 because we're really, when you look at they looking at these tariffs like, oh, fentanyl and drugs and immigration, but it's all leading towards more digitized biometric surveillance and AI governance, and them getting you used to having their digital oracles, their digital AI controlling your world. It's all leading you to the MOTB. And at the same time, the ultimate goal is going to be, the only way they're going to be able to really justify what they're getting ready to do is to go to war. Okay?
Crisis.
Yep.
What's up, guys? WW3 back at you. We got a lot going on, and it looks like, by all accounts, some things we talked about a decade ago pertaining to Jade Helm, they're in full swing operation. Jade Helm is live. Everything that it focused on, the whole border operation on states from California all the way down to Texas. It included Florida and other areas. And what were they doing? They were targeting going into areas where people live to get people. Now, we didn't have the whole immigration crisis this on our hands.
I'm gonna say this, man. Look, bro, you just gotta go to the dentist, man. I know you don't trust it. There ain't nobody gonna put no chip in your tooth, bro. You just gotta go to the dentist, bro. My man is through. Damn. Cause I know he don't trust it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to use the world as not abusing it, man.
Shit. Shit ain't gonna fix itself, dog. All that stuff y'all be seeing online about strontium in your tooth and oil pulling, that works a little bit, but it ain't finna stop. When the cavity get big, you through. You gotta go get it fixed. Jeez, man. One thing I noticed is teeth, man, because I've been seeing him over the years. He through.
Yeah, but he out there in the wild, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he just gonna have to drive into town and get that shit fixed, man. Anyway, back to it.
Get people. Now, we didn't have the whole immigration crisis on our hands back then the way that we do now. Now you can hopefully see that Homeland strike teams going all across the place, coupled with the U.S. military being rolled out
Now all the videos work except his.
all across the border in that whole region. This is the operation.
Annoying.
This is the massive operation that they drilled for. And they're doing just that. They're rounding people up.
All right, I'm gonna play with this.
They're putting them in camps, stuff that people said would be a conspiracy theory. But that's because they were looking at it from the angle that they were going to be rounding up Americans and sticking them in there, and they didn't have any justification behind that. But that the drilling was real. They did Jade Helm. It was real through and through. And they trained for this exact event all along the border for what's about to pop off full scale. The military's mounting up there right now. And they're now flying these recon flights all the way down to Cabo San Lucas and different areas. And they're preparing to strike. So everything that was drilled and talked about back with Jade Helm is in full scale swing at this point. Again, what people missed back then is they were equating Americans to be rounded up in this whole thing and put into camps or whatnot. But the reality is,
now he acting like he's not one of the people that was saying that. He was definitely one of the people that was saying that. They were saying it was going to be Americans that they were doing this Jade Helm thing for, and what he's breaking down is like, bro, they're putting these people in these camps, and these camps are full. They don't even have they're gonna have to do something alternative to handle all these people that they rounded up. Okay,
Some Soylent Green type shit,
right? But the whole point is they're telling you, oh man, it's getting out of hand. It's too many. It's getting out of hand. What's going to be the solution for when it gets ridiculously out of hand? You're going to have a biometric system that can keep things in order. Because we don't have the manpower. We don't have the physical resources to keep. So we need digital resources to keep up with this. Same way with the economy and the monetary system. They use these different problems and situations to justify what they're going to do next.
Yep.
And people think that the scripture says that they're going to go to an MOTB system. It's got to be implemented somehow. Piece by piece by piece. Okay. Now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, to go into the whole border situation, it kind of brought two films to my mind. I don't know if you've seen it. There's one film called The Fortress with what's his name again? The Christopher Lambert, and in that film, it's actually set in 2017, and it's like in a military dictatorship in America. And they get caught trying to cross the Canadian-United States border. So they were trying to leave America, and they got caught. And then there was another film that was similar to that, but they were trying to get in, and that was Babylon AD with Vin Diesel. So there's a lot of films where they show that eventually They're going lock the border down and use drones, and you ain't gonna be able to go in or out without authorization.
Yep.
You know, and that's pretty much what you see them building up now with the troops, you know, which they've had for a while, but they're going to start getting serious with it. Troops on the border, drones, and it's going to keep you in as well as out. Because a lot of people are thinking about it from the point of view of an illegal immigrant trying to get into America. But what they don't realize is when all hell breaks loose in America, there's going to be people trying to get out.
Yep.
They're going to be trying to go the other way. They're going to be trying to go across the border, or maybe things are better in Canada. Oh, hold on. Handmaid's Tale was like that.
Yeah. They scan you, you know, such and such, you are not authorized, you know.
Yeah. Because I believe in Handmaid's Tale. They were trying to get across the border.
They got the AI that can talk to you in a regular ass voice. They might have the AI where it'll scan you and it'll check your ethnicity and it'll talk to you in whatever ethnicity. You know, you have Jake trying to cross the border, and then a drone will come and scan you, and it'd be like, "Yo, my G, you're not authorized, big homie. You gotta turn around back now. You know, or we're gonna have to penalize you, Joe." You know what I'm saying? Like damn.
Speaking in Ebonics.
Right. You know?
Yeah, but it sounds crazy, but this is what it means by a time like there was no other on the planet Earth, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be judgment, man, and it's gonna come to a point where there's gonna be summary executions and all of that. It's gonna get serious.
Yep.
They're gonna start, killing people, man. That's breaking borders and breaking rules, because they can't put everyone in prison.
Right. You just gotta eliminate you. All right. So 2 Ezra 15-16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their king nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Yeah, you got the movie Escape from New York.
Uh-huh. Fine. But I want to move on to the ultimate point, bro. I want to move on to the ultimate point because this right here was absolutely fucking sane. And it shows you how much power Trump has been able to gather with as far as public opinion.
Yeah, man. This is crazy.
He's on dictator Julius Caesar level type shit.
Didn't he run on ending all the wars?
Bruh. Listen to this dude, man. Let's just play this.
With it too, we'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
They basically saying they're going to gentrify the Gaza Strip.
They're going to give people jobs doing it.
Absolute war crime. This is
colonialism.
It's He just said, we're going to go take the Gaza Strip. We're going to own it. We're going to kick the people out. We're going to own it. Check. Listen to this. This is World War III. He's literally telling you, we're going to go to World War III.
I'm hopeful that this,
brothers in the comment boards, if you can go ahead and put in, the least shall draw them out. Okay. Go ahead and put in, Ezekiel, they shall be a guard unto them, because this will force Iran, this will force Russia to intercede.
He's gone full Edom.
This will force these other nations to intercede.
Mm.
Okay, this is where they're gonna start fighting over stuff. This will force Egypt to intercede. Okay.
Ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all.
This will force Turkey to intercede. I didn't think that they would say it so boldly, bro. But hey, I love it.
He's got the cover because his base are so infatuated with him. Anything he does, they'll agree with. You know.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely proud. He's definitely stout, like it talks about in Daniel.
Nation has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region. And we've really done that. We're a respected nation again. A lot's happened in the last couple of weeks. We are actually a respected.
Wait, hold on.
Again. And I recently
how can he have done all that in a couple of weeks? This is insane.
Yeah.
Like, what's he done in 2 weeks that the world respects him? It's just pride.
All pride, bro.
Like, what can you have done in 2 weeks that makes your military stronger in the Middle East? This is insane. Slovakia, this is insane, man.
And an executive order combating the vile wave of anti-Semitism that we've seen in the aftermath of the October 7th attacks. Together, America and Israel will renew the optimism that shined so brightly just 4 years ago. It was really a bright, beautiful light. We will restore calm and stability to the region and expand prosperity, opportunity, and hope to our nations and for all people in the Middle East, including the Arab and Muslim nations. Very important. We want the Arab and Muslim nations to have peace and have tranquility and have great lives.
Welcome, everyone, to the Hurting Humanity channel. They are really ramping up the New World Order's plans. Donald Trump was the perfect person to put in power to bring this in because nobody is paying attention. And we are not even 2 full weeks into Donald Trump's term as president of the United States. And we've already seen discussion of expansion of the North American Union.
And boom. And so I'm not going to finish it, but you have to go watch this from Hurting Humanity. He kills this one. You know what I mean? Because he basically goes into the Greater Israel Project, which we've been covering for over 10 years now, and going through the scriptures. But the boldness that he has right here is fascinating. And I love it. You know, Daniel 7:20 says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And that's America. You know, and after a fall of the French, the Spanish, and the British, America really rose up and became the forefront of the world after World War II. And since that time, it has pushed itself as being, you know, the premier prideful state of the Edomite hegemon, the Edomite power structure. And Trump really represents that well. And what his boldness and what he just said of we're just going to go take the Gaza Strip and the implications that can have in the Valley of Jehoshaphat as far as the third woe that the Revelations talk about, the World War III, Armageddon, everything we talk about prophetically. I mean, it's speaking straight to it. Okay. The brothers put into the chat I'm gonna go over this real quick because I don't have time. I got a meeting I got to get into. Jeremiah, if you have something to say, just go ahead and jump in. You don't have to cut me straight off, okay? Jeremiah 15:45, it says, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Babylon and his purposes, that he hath purpose against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." Okay? And you see him standing with Netanyahu, who's standing there proudly. And because of their allegiance to the state of Israel, Babylon the Great is being drawn out into this regional conflict. Because we know the spirit of Ishmael. They're willing to fight and go to war. Okay, they're willing to fight and go to war. You got it, champ.
Now I'm saying now we know why they did the prisoner exchange. Because they knew we're gonna chill for a bit, but then we're gonna come hard.
God. So when you look out at everything that's happening, not only are they fermenting and putting together the digital AI governance state, they are full-fledged going and moving forward to World War III, which is something here at Great Millstone we always told the people will be very close prophecies as far as proximity of each other. Both of them are types of warfare. One, a diplomatic, a political, physical war, and another, an economic and mental war. And that's what's happening. Spiritual war, really, when you really want to look at it too. Because once you take that mark, you've married yourself unto Babylon the Great. You've married yourself unto Edom and the spiritual demon Satan. And you're marked for absolute destruction. Okay? This thing is moving at warp speed.
Yeah.
Warp speed.
And you gotta be spooky because he really representing the unapologetic Edomite spirit. You know, when you look at like what he's doing, he's like just unapologetic with it. You know, and it's gonna happen to the so-called illegals, but eventually that unapologetic spirit's gonna come on the Negroes, and they're probably gonna start with the gang members. Listen, we're just gonna get rid of them. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Yep.
You know, because he not pulling no punches. He's coming unapologetic, and he's got a whole bunch of Edomites that are gonna be clapping. Yeah.
Shoot, he gonna have a whole bunch of our people that's gonna be clapping.
Yeah, get rid. Maybe Chicago. You know, I use that, but yeah.
Would you disagree with it?
I don't think so, bro. Not from what I see online.
You ain't gonna disagree with them going to get them niggas. You gonna be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, so, they're moving hella ruthless, man.
You know. So I'm sorry. I'm we're gonna have to come back and touch back on this one, and we're gonna start at this point right here, bro, because this was nasty work. This was nasty work. All right, and I loved it. I was like, did he just say that shit? Did nobody say nothing? And I saw some of the press conference that they had today, and they was just like, so is he talking about putting boots on the ground? The fact that he even said it was crazy.
Bro, it was so crazy that I went on Alex Jones' Twitter to see if he commented on it. He ain't said nothing.
He ain't condemned it or nothing.
He just got to be quiet like, oh, shit.
That's what we got to start talking about, too. The alt-right, how they completely sold out.
Yeah, they're going to be like, yeah.
You know, they out of there.
That's crazy.
But yeah, man, the water for you, Aki. I'm putting scriptures on, man. I got to get out of here. Jump on with the brothers here in my camp. We're going to come back and do a follow-up with Quarcom. I'll hit you up in the chat. We'll find a time to continue. You know what I mean? With that being said, man, I'll say, call halal Yahweh by Shem Yahweh. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutation to y'all came out there pushing the word of Yahweh Shem Yahweh in sincerity and truth. Shalom.
Shalom. Oh.